Hey fam, chiming in again. This is a heavy subject for me right now because of everything that's going on in our country, everything that's going on in our world right now. My peripherals are probably on high alert. I would probably in overdrive. um, in regards to absorbing information and research, as well as the more, I guess, energetic or vibrational aspect as well, because I am more of an intuitive driven person. However, when it comes to certain controversial situations and issues, that I am a skeptic and I am a researcher. I mean, I'm huge on that, and I think it's very important that that people, when they need to gather the right facts in order to come to a conclusion, need to do their proper research instead of just being led by one source or another. But the main reason why I'm deciding to talk with you today is that I want to approach an overall situation of where we are at in our country and where we are headed. There is no telltale sign of what's going to happen here in the near future. However, those who are a little bit more in tune with the, I guess, with the energy of everything that's going on, they know that we are at a pinnacle point in our society. We're in a pinnacle point, turning point of humanity, of our consciousness, and everything that's going on. And so I'm feeling a shift. I'm feeling a huge shift. And there's a lot of people out there that I've spoken to lately that are facing this exact same sense of a major shift. And those people are tending to fall into what has been kind of my topic lately, is kind of like a pit of depression, or feeling lost and not sure what direction they're in, and they're in a funk basically. And those people who are currently in a funk, and I'm speaking for myself as well as the people that I've talked to, and to you, if you've been feeling like you're in a funk lately, if you feel stuck, if you feel lost, if you're feeling empty, if you feel like you don't have direction, if you feel like you are just clouded and you don't know why, that's because there is a lot going on in our world right now that is really affecting us on a more cosmic level, if I may. If you don't believe that, that's fine, but it exists. I mean, we can understand that energies can affect other people. You know, you can be affected by somebody's energy, whether it be good or not so great. And so what's happening in the world right now is that there's this collision of energies. There's a clash of energies going on right now. And so I actually look at that, especially in our country, as a civil war. We are in a energetic, cosmic civil war as we speak. And to break that down into more of a physical understanding, is that there is more violence, there's more hatred, there's more name calling, there's more division, there's more separation, and it's caused a lot of relationships and friendships to fall apart, because of just all the things that have been happening in this world, and especially in this country lately. And we're losing sense of who we are as a species, and our purpose, because we're so adamant about being right. And so we have this division that we are facing right now, the civil war that we are fighting right now, and it's disastrous, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. Unfortunately, that is the truth. But what is going to happen is like I said, we are going through this shift, and we are colliding, and we are clashing, and it's becoming more problematic every single day. More mass shootings. We have this impeachment that we're dealing with right now. We have corruption worldwide that's happening right now, and it is stronger than ever. It is more prominent than ever. And the bottom line is, it is saddening me. It is hurting me on a personal level because of the fact that we don't know how to get along anymore. We don't know how to agree to disagree. We don't know how to be civil. We don't even know how to be, and I'm saying we as a general term here, we don't know how to be forthright. We don't know how to be truthful. We don't know how to live with dignity and honesty, and we're losing that. And we're looking at public figures and political figures and such that are turning the tables and creating such a negative environment for everyone else. And so it is causing a ripple effect. There is collateral damage now, and it's irreversible, and there's more collateral damage to come. And I'm saying this not to be negative, but to be honest and to be straightforward about what we are facing right now. We have in this country the freedom of speech. And I am so blessed and thankful that we have that, because I can understand what it would be like I should say I couldn't understand what it would be like to live in a country where you are limited on what you say in person, on social media, so on and so forth. However, we all know that, especially when it comes to the media and social media, how damaging freedom of speech can be, because that includes false information. And so, and of course, in these days, we call it fake news. That's the favorite term now. But with false information, we tend to get confused, and we aren't sure what's true anymore. We're just like, we have no valid truth to understand. And so that leaves us just giving up or not caring. But what we have to be doing right now is rising above what is happening in the media and social media aspect of digging deeper. Like, that's the whole point of this vlog, is when it comes to issues that we're confused about or we don't understand, or that are controversial, we need to be digging deeper. We need to be seeking that evidence that is out there, and it is out there. We can find that information. It is readily accessible to us. However, we have to learn to decipher what's real and what's not. And so this is where it's important to understand what media literacy is. And media literacy is basically, how can you tell what's real and what's not? So educating yourself on how to detect what is truthful, what's missing, what's vague, what's misleading, and go from that, and to be able to create your own information, create your own opinion, create your own judgment based on that, instead of walking into a situation and hearing something and going, oh, I believe that to be true, and I'm against it too, or I'm for that too, just because of one thing that you've heard or read. So being open sourced. Open sourced means you are taking from various sources. You're looking at all angles possible, all platforms, all media outlets possible, or informational sources possible, to be able to come to your own truth about an issue. And we're not doing that. We're leaning toward a lot of one-sidedness, and that is not helpful in our country whatsoever. We are persuaded one way or another because of media and social media, and so we actually have to learn how to dig deeper than that to be able to find what we believe and what we feel is true. And so with all of this, there are plenty of things that we've been misled on, and it's really unfortunate. So again, we have to take the time to dig deeper into more of the peripheral information besides what is just presented to us. We need to actually find it for ourselves. And it helps to research history, history of events, history of people, is very, very helpful to be able to form what we can know of a situation now. We have to understand too that when I was talking about media literacy, one of the most important things to pay attention to that actually causes a lot of issues in how we absorb things is repetitiveness. So if you notice that there's some sort of a media outlet or platform that is being very repetitive in their news or with their words, it is actually a form of psychological brainwashing. So it is a psychological technique of brainwashing if they are very repetitive. The more repetitive they are with certain news, videos, words, and terms, that it is a brainwashing tactic. So be aware of that, and don't try to allow yourself to be sucked into that. I will be honest with you, I used to watch Infowars quite a few years ago because somebody had mentioned it to me, and I started watching it, and I really started to believe that stuff, and I'm like, finally realized, what am I doing to myself? And that's exactly what's happening with a lot of people these days, is that they're being sucked into believe in something like a conspiracy theory, basically. And so this is important where we really step up our media literacy. It's just like, do we want freedom of speech? Do we want to keep freedom of speech? Guess what we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to put in the effort and the legwork to go beneath any kind of mainstream media information that's put out there, and we actually have to do our part in research to actually get the truth. And the elections are coming up, and so that's even more important for us to dig deeper than what we hear in debates, what we read in articles, what we hear in statements from these candidates. We actually have to dig a little bit deeper to understand who they are and understand their intentions better. And so I'm really excited that we are going to be, when I say we, me and my partner, we're going to be starting a podcast here in the near future that is going to be about it's going to be about that open-sourced, open-minded, informative style of podcast when it comes to issues. However, we will be doing a segment on the elections, on the candidates that are presented, and give some factual information that are more in layman's terms for people to understand, and issues that are being covered in the election, things that are brought up, that policies that the candidates are supporting or against. We want to be able to take an objective stance on any of this, to try to find facts and evidence and statistics and things like that to present, instead of just going, well, I think this, I think that. Like, we need to get past that first and decipher some factual evidence of various topics and issues. So that's going to be very important. So I'm going to cut to the chase here now, because this is what's killing me. This is what's hurting the most, is that, again, we are so separate. We are so torn that even in my personal life, I've noticed with people that I love and care about, there's been some headbutting, unfortunately. And I'm not one to argue. I am not one to argue, but I am one to definitely share my truth based on evidence, based on facts, based on the digging that I have done. And I want to share that because I'm super passionate about it. And I've never been passionate about politics. I've never been passionate about our country and where it's been headed as much as I am right now, because I feel it. I feel that we are going to be facing a lot that we're not wanting to face, no matter what direction we go right now. And so I don't want this to be a subject of the president, but I have to use this because this is what's going on in our country right now, is that there is possible corruption going on. And I'm saying possible just because there are people out there that don't believe that there's been corruption. However, again, in my research of everything that's been going on and the people that are involved, digging deeper and researching the history of these people and researching history of events and seeing what's going on in other parts of the world, I'm like, I feel this, I see what's going on, and it just kills me and it saddens me that we are to this pinnacle turning point of no matter what is going to happen now in our country, we're going to face a mess. And we're going to have, it's going to be a long haul for us. So we have various situations that can occur here going forward, especially with the impeachment process. They're saying that the open hearings are coming to a close. However, that's not 100% guaranteed in stone, but they do have to start gathering articles of impeachment, so on and so forth, so it can go to the Judiciary Committee. So there's steps to still go through, and of course it has to be presented to the Senate, and of course right now what we're hearing is a lot of pushback from the Senate because it's more GOP, and this has been a partisan fight. It's been a very, very ugly recess playground fight, and it's been absolutely ridiculous because a lot of people feel that it is partisan based, like the Democrats are wanting to kick the president out of his seat and get him impeached. Well, you have to understand too that the House is primarily Democrats, but it's not the fact that they're Democrats, it's the fact that they are seeing issues, and the fact that there was a whistleblower. They have to act on that. They cannot just like brush off a whistleblower complaint. That is illegal. That is immoral. So they had to act on it. And so a lot of things have been twisted. A lot of things have been twisted and misconstrued over this whole span. But again, nobody wants to be going through this, and people think that people like the Democrats or the House or whoever wants to be going through this, and they're having fun with it, and they're celebrating that like Trump is, you know, getting in trouble or whatever. That's not no, that's not it at all. Nobody wants to be going through this. I don't want to be going through this. I don't want us to have to be doing this because it's affecting us on such a major level. It's not just the fact that there's a whistleblower complaint toward the president. It's bigger than that. Like, obviously, we're noticing collateral damage in our country as a whole. And so it is tearing us down. It is breaking us apart. And so no matter which direction that this goes, it is going to not be exactly what we want. You know, a lot of people are like looking forward to the impeachment and removing of office. What are the chances of that, right? So there's a lot that are just kind of in the balance here. Just, we don't know how this is going to play out. We don't know how this is going to, you know, we don't know every detail. We don't know what's going to happen. However, we can't get super excited about impeachment and removal of office because that is still going to bring ugly results. There's so many, like I said, there's so many different things that can happen. He could be impeached but not removed. So he could still be our sitting president, which means that he could be reelected. You know, so that's something that we have to consider. He could be impeached and removed. However, that again, there's going to be a mess to clean up. There's going to be collateral damage with that, as well as sideline people involved in the situation that could have an effect on the direction that we go as well. His allies and things like that. He could not be impeached at all again. And Democrats are still hoping that this will still be a good lesson for presidents in the future. You know, it could happen to where Pence pardons Trump. And that's not good either. And of course, Trump could resign, which we could all look at the resignation as probably being the best move. Although if he resigns, that means that the impeachment hearing is squashed. It's null and void. And he gets off the hook. So we are facing damage. We are facing upheaval no matter what direction we go. And the point that I want to get across right now is that we are allowing ourselves to be so separated and divisive on what is happening that is destroying us as a country. And we can't lose that element. We can't lose that aspect of the fact that we are all humans. And we do have to recognize too that those people that are in office right now are also humans. And looking at them as you know, evil people and calling them names is just as bad as what, you know, what we don't want the government to be doing, right? We're not treating each other fairly. We're not treating each other with love and respect. We're not hearing each other out. We're not trying to understand each other right now. We just want to put up a fight and be right. We want our side to win. And this is destroying us, guys. So this is my vent. My vent is we need to find a way to rise above the shit that's going on. And as Gandhi said, be the change that we want to see in the world. Last night I was just like, I've got to, you know, even though I'm really immersed in educating myself with what's going on right now, I need to take a step back and take care of myself energetically and put the energy that I want back into the world. And so last night I was meditating and praying on that. I was just trying to take care of myself, making sure that my perception of me and of everybody else in the world is not going to get skewed, that I am not going to find myself in a bitter state because of what's going on. And I was sending that out to the universe as well, to everybody else, to be able to find a way for us to not, I'm not praying for world peace by any means, because that's non-existent. That's impossible to ask for world peace. However, I can sit there and pray and meditate that we can find a way to get along, and to operate and function again. And we have to. I mean, that's the way it goes. There's no such thing as world peace, but there's a way for us to be able to debate, shake hands, and move on. Like, we have to. I really do feel, though, that with the state that our country is in, and I'm not saying that we are horrible, we could be way worse off if you look at some of the other countries. But the state of our country as it is right now, it is far from being perfect, far from being where we would want it to be. So it's not going to be an easy Band-Aid fix whatsoever. My perception of this is that we, again, are at a pinnacle turning point. And in order for that pinnacle turning point to take us one way or another, again, we're in this shift. And this shift is kind of like, I imagine kind of like those tectonic plates of an earthquake, is that we are doing this. We're getting ready to have an earthquake here. So as soon as one of those plates slips, we're going to go one way or another. So what way do we want to go? What way do you want us to go? Do you want us to get better? Or do you want us to see us fall into more of a hole? Whether that be corruption or a situation like, I have to say it, Hong Kong. Like, do we want to see ourselves that way? Unfortunately, no, we don't. So we have control in this. We do have control in this, whether we think so or not. We actually do have to put our minds together, to put our energies together, to actually create the shift the way that we want it to go. So this is our time. This is our time to actually, okay, stop arguing. Stop trying to be right and focus on what change you want to see and be that change. Start being proactive, right? Quit trying to make your point. Quit trying to feel like you have to justify yourself or justify whoever you believe, right? So again, the change starts with each of us. We can't keep pointing fingers. We can't keep blaming. That is not the answer whatsoever. So that's what I ask of you guys, to start from within and ask yourself what change you want to see for our country, and then start acting toward that change. That is the only thing that is going to actually drive us in the direction that we need to go. Not just by one or two figures that we want to hold accountable. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's like in a relationship. You can't blame each other. You both contribute to any kind of strife that you go through. So it all comes down to the individual self, the individual change. And with that being said, I want to kind of toss out a concept that you might not quite understand or appreciate or accept, and that's okay. I don't want to appreciate or accept it either, but it is a thought. And my thought is that, and I had this epiphany actually way before the impeachment. What if the president that is in office right now is the catalyst to the shift that we need for this country and for this world? As ugly as it sounds, as unfortunate as it sounds, as much of a mess it seems to have made already, and the mess that it's probably going to make, what if our president is the catalyst for us to wake up and change? I truly believe that that is where we're headed. Now, do I really want to focus on how much darker or uglier or messier it can get? No. It really concerns me. It really worries me. But for me to sit here and just worry or be scared or blame anybody is not going to solve the issue. I'm dealing with a lot of pain for where we are at as a society. I'm ashamed of our society right now. I'm ashamed of us. I'm ashamed of us to be acting this way. We're all acting like third graders, and it's freaking ridiculous. God, quit trying to be right. Quit trying to argue. Quit trying to point fingers. Start working on yourself, trying to be that person that you want to be in that seat, that you want running our country. Start acting like it, because if you start acting like who you want in that seat, your perception will change, and you'll be able to see a little bit clearer on the people or the issues that are out there. So take a step back, take a deep breath, start changing your perception on all of this. Dig deeper and listen for the truth, because it is out there. Even though we have the muddy waters to deal with, the truth is out there. So please, learn to look within, change your perception, consider that we do have a rough road ahead, but in order to rise above it, we have to each do our part. Thanks for checking in. Love you guys.